Hello, everyone. My name is Greg Broll, and today I will be going over The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. So, first, I thought I would start the video by introducing you to Star Carter. Star Carter is the main character of The Hate U Give, and she is extremely likable. She has a very free thinking mind and is always looking out for the best interests of others. She grew up in a place called Garden Heights, which is a community plagued by poverty, drugs, and gang violence. Her father, Big Mav, used to be one of the top gangsters in the city until he went to jail while she was just a child. Star is very community driven and passionately believes in the inequality gap between white people and black people. A tragic event that happens in the beginning of the novel opens the door for her entrance into social activism, which is kind of the core of the story. A very important part of Star's identity is the two separate lives that she sees herself living. She goes to school in a rich, affluent white neighborhood, and while she's there, she has to talk and act completely different than if she were at Garden Heights. She comments on this all the time and even has names for her two-sided personalities. There's the Williamsburg Star, which is how she acts and talks when she's at school, and then there's the Garden Heights Star, which is how she acts when she is at home. And when she is home, she is, free to speak how she wants. She is surrounded by her family, and is dealing with a lot of issues surrounding the drugs and violence that is impacting her neighborhood. These two sides of her life often clash, such as the scene where her father does not approve of her dating her white boyfriend who she met at Williamsburg. She is constantly trying to find a balance between these two distinct parts of her life. So I debated how much I was going to talk about this scene, but I think anybody that is interested in reading this book or potentially teaching this book really needs to know about it. In the first two chapters, Star goes to a party and meets up with her old friend Khalil. Um, they hit it off. They have a great time. Khalil, while he is driving her home, is stopped by a police officer for speeding. Things quickly escalate, and Khalil is shot dead by the police officer right in front of Star's face. This scene is very powerful and sets the tone for the entire story. The story then revolves around Star and her dealing with the death of her friend, as well as how she becomes socially active after watching Khalil die and tries to get justice for him, as well as the rest of her community. So, for the read aloud section, and before I give you a little sneak peek, I'm going to give you two scenes in the book. The first is just the first paragraph of the story. I think it really highlights the language that's used, and it's just like, it's a good little introduction, so I'm just going to read it. I shouldn't have come to this party. I'm not even sure I belong at this party. That's not on some bougie shit either. There are just some places where it's not enough to be me. Either version of me. Big D's spring break party is one of those places. Okay, and for the second read aloud section, I'm going to read a more intense scene. I'll give you a little pretext as to what happened. So Khalil just got shot, basically what I explained earlier, and this is what goes on in Star's head right after the moment. Instinct says don't move, but everything else says check on Khalil. I jump out the Impala and rush round to the other side. Khalil stares at the sky as if he hopes to see God. His mouth is open like he wants to scream. I scream loud enough for the both of us. No, 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 is all I can say, like I'm a year old and it's the only word I know. I'm not sure how I end up on the ground next to him. My mom once said that if someone gets shot, try to stop the bleeding, but there's so much blood. Too much blood. No, no, no. Khalil doesn't move. He doesn't utter a word. He doesn't even look at me. His body stiffens, and he's gone. I hope he sees God. Someone else screams. I blink through my tears. Officer 115 yells at me, pointing the same gun he killed my friend with. I put my hands up. So, first off, I just want to say that this book is undoubtedly meant to be controversial. Police brutality is a hot topic issue in this country, and it is very touchy depending on who you're talking to. This book is written in the African American vernacular, and the issue of code switching is brought up very often. The author undoubtedly has her certain views on race, and she definitely the main character star looks at everything through a very racial lens. Some people are going to like this, some people are not. Um, the book is really just meant for us to take a hard look at society and what's actually happening and ask a simple question, and that's why. And that is always going to be controversial. So, for a bit more on the author, Angie Thomas lives in Jackson, Mississippi. She says that her main reasons for writing are promoting social activism in the African American community, as well as shedding further light on the Black Lives Matter movement. The Hate U Give is her debut album, so she is a relatively new writer. She has a new book coming out in the next couple of months. Her main inspirations for writing The Hate U Give are the deaths of Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, Tamir Rice, and Sandra Bland, who all died on accounts of police brutality. So, to end my video, I thought I would share my personal thoughts and feelings on the novel. I gotta say that I really liked it. It was one of my favorite books I've read so far in this class. The characters are hilarious, the story is extremely entertaining, and story aside, the message behind the novel is fantastic. Angie Thomas is very brave and honest in how she presents and shows race. These are issues that I believe need to be central in the American talking point, as well as in every classroom. To all my fellow future educators, I highly recommend reading this novel. There are several teachable moments that I found, and I'm sure you will see as well.